Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to something a little bit different. It is a referendum special today here at Guilecast. What does that mean, Guile? I hear some of you say. Well, it's very obvious to me that if you're asking that question, you don't live inside the UK, or indeed probably the European Union either. And for those of you not in the know, probably don't watch the news or whatever, today is polling day in a question that will decide whether or not Britain remains inside the European Union or leaves it, which has been codenamed Brexit. I have some pretty strong personal political convictions on the matter and have done for some time, but I haven't bothered to air them on the channel because you know what, it's a FAF channel. It is a Supreme Command channel. It's about the promotion of FAF, and you guys deserve to be able to have your enjoyment without me taking out my political wand out of my political trousers and waving it in everybody's faces trying to influence public opinion. So I didn't decide to do that, but it is now voting day today. Everyone's made their minds up, and I cast my vote this morning. I thought we'd have a little bit of fun with it. Supposedly, I've been waiting for this for 20 years, supposedly that I've now got to wait until 5 a.m., 7 a.m. tomorrow morning to find out what the result is going to be. And that's unacceptable to me. I cannot wait. So I've done some calculations, and I've worked out that if I assign a random team in an Average Joe's custom 4v4 Gap of Rohan game, I know, leave me alone, it's the only get replay that was available. If I do that and assign each one to either Brexit or Remain, the winner of that match will determine the winner of the referendum. It's incredibly scientific. I'm not going to go into it all now, but that's what we're going to do, and that's how I'm going to know the result early. How are we going to do that? Well, it's quite simple. With the help of Google, I have a random number generator here, and shall we say that if we get a even number, that means that Team 1 will be fighting for Brexit, and if we get an odd number, it means that Team 1 will be fighting for Remain. I click Get Random. I get an even number, so what did I say? That's right, Brexit, that's it. So Team 1 is going to be fighting for Brexit. Team 2 is going to be fighting for Remain. And it's going to be, as we said, a custom 4v4 Average Joe's on Gap of Rohan. The players are ready, probably not ready to fight for the future of Europe, but who is ready for such a thing? Well, I'm ready. Let's take it like that. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. So we know what we're dealing with here in terms of Gap of Rohan. So this is Team 1, mistakenly over on the right, because the user interface is crazy, and this is Team 2. So this is Team Brexit over in the east, and Team Remain over in the west. So going first for Team Brexit up here at the top right, we have Callisto. He's going Aeon in Elephantine Grey, opening first land. Team member number 2 for Brexit down here, it's Don't Tell My Girlfriend I'm On. Someone has an overbearing partner, it would seem. He's going Seraphim in Mellow Yellow, opening first land. Team member number 3 for Brexit, already on the move, as is customary for Gap of Rohan. It's Booty 8787 in Fecal Brown. He's misclicked and gone Cybran and opened first air, which is interesting. And last but not least, another misclick, another Cybran. He's gone Baby Blue, and he was beaten, I guess, to the punch by Booty by going Fecal Brown. But then I suppose Booty, poop comes out of the booty, doesn't it? So Fecal Brown works for both those guys. Interesting, lots of fecal talk there from the Brexit people. It's happened a lot on the campaign, it has to be said. Anyway, let's take a look at the Remain camp. Up here at the top left, we have Affinity, and he is going Aeon in Lurid Green, opening first land, going second air there. Next up after him, we have my good friend GFY Depony, and I'm crushed to see him fighting for the Remainers. But then he is Irish, so it's probably the stance he would take. He's going Ferrari Red, and he's going Cybran, and he's opening first land. Team member number 3 for the Remainers, strolling towards the middle, we have Necropal, and he's going UEF in Breast Cancer Awareness Pink, throwing down a land factory at the beginning over there in the main base, and a second land factory is going to go down in the tree line towards the front. And last but not least for the Remainers, we have someone called Combat, and he is going Spetsnaz Green. He's also misclicked and gone Cybran, opening first land, second air, third land. So we've got 2 Cybrans, a FIM, and an Aeon for Team 1, and 2 Cybrans, a UEF, and an Aeon for Team 2. Of course, Brexit there, and Remain. Game qualities at 94%. That is within tolerances for a balanced game. And we've got some... What have we got here? We've got some labs up at the mountain pass there for Poop. And I can't believe I'm going to have to be referring to him as Poop throughout this one. And it looked like they were on guard duty initially, but it now looks like they're going on the offensive as the ACUs meet one another in the center and try and bag the best part of the reclaim, and the Brexiteers look like they might yield the best part of the reclaim. Necropal is the only one in a position to get his hands on the majority of the mass down here. Don't Tell My Girlfriend I'm On is strolling into the zone, but almost all of the tech-free wrecks going into Necropal and Remain's coffers there. And indeed, Don't Tell My Girlfriend I'm On only gets a tiny bit of that second Harbinger. The rest of the time he's focused on damaging Necropal's ACU. So if we take a look at the totals there, it does look like Remain have scored a 2.5k advantage or thereabouts off that initial mass grab. So well done to them. Meanwhile, we take it to the labs there from Poop, have scored a couple of engineer kills so far. One kill on those labs apiece there, with the exception of one in the middle. So yep, 2 engineer kills. There goes another one. This time it's Depony that loses out. Depony has dispatched a lab of his own. That Hunter strolling into shot. There goes another engineer. This is great work from Poop, who's actually incidentally the bottom rated player in this, 1100. And another one, and this time he's moving into Affinities territory, and there's 3 engineers up here that could suffer as well. And there goes another kill. Very nicely done indeed, but that will all come to an end, I think, as combat turns up on the scene with a Jester. T1 gunship, generally pretty good match for labs as long as they stay still long enough to get hit. And there they go. But definitely well worth it. Some real good hampering there from Team Brexit. Some stifling of development. Don't Tell My Girlfriend I'm On is sitting back here getting an upgrade on his comp. Booty 8787 going to get a LAN factory online right up at the front line. That will be the closest factory to the center point of the map. And Depony just strolling forward, taking out that mass extractor there for Team Brexit. Doesn't even bother to roll forward and try and pick that up, but just does a little bit of deny because why not? Necropal getting an upgrade on his commander as well. And quite a lot of aircraft on the map for both teams. Multiple players taking care of air production. Poop working on an air factory of his own now, just outside the initial ring. I'm curious as why he didn't place it inside the ring of T1 P-Gens. Perhaps he wants something else to go there a little later on. And another group of bots, this time it's Mantis, queuing up at the mountain pass at the bottom there for Poop. One lone Medusa out for Booty is going to work on some of Depony's forward mass extractors, and Necropal has finished his upgrade and its gun upgrade, and Depony is not happy about that at all. So Zeph Amp on board that commander for Necropal. UEF T2 Engineering Suite would help them in securing the center point, which I'm guessing is what Depony's upset about. But Necropal is going to put that gun upgrade to good use. If only he grabbed it a little bit earlier, he might have been able to force the deny on the 2 upgrades from these commanders, but unfortunately I think they are going to complete. Yeah, there goes Booty, and he has got the T2 Engineering Suite, as has Don't Tell My Girlfriend. Yes, he has as well, and Booty immediately gets to work on a T1 PD. Necropal needs to get in and deny those. Overcharge goes into the body, interestingly enough, of the commander and not the engineers that are assisting. There go the engineers, and the point defense is under pressure from Lobos that have turned up on the scene for Necropal as well. So that forward land factory getting to work on some light artillery, and now they're going to line up and start volleying at the land factory of Booty. And don't tell my girlfriend Amon has managed to get a Seraphim T2 PD online, and Necropal is facing the brunt of that. Don't tell my girlfriend blocks one or two of the shots with his ACU, but eventually that point defense does go down. However, Booty is going to complete a Cerberus turret as well. Necropal going to be forced to back up out of this. Has got some modest gains out of this, has managed to kill off a few engineers, and indeed has managed to kill that factory from Booty 8787, but is pretty low on health, is down to around 4,200, and now some jesters rolling in from Booty. Do we have aircraft coming to defend? Yes, we do. Affinity rolling in with his interceptors, and not before time. Necropal down into the red now. Jesters taken care of in 2 easy passes, and now we have a real confluence of interceptors from both teams, but I think it's fair to say that Team Remain have a sizable advantage in the air game. Lots and lots of interceptors from their camp hovering over the center. Still Jesters rolling in to the middle from Booty. He needs to stop production of those ASAP. But now Necropal forced to withdraw into the red, 2,600 hit points, and there's Tech 2 point defense going up in the center for Brexit. So mild advantage for them at the beginning of this one, and that will grant them control of an extra 4 mass points in the middle. Typically they don't often end up getting upgraded because the middle is so vulnerable to counter-attack. Wall sections going up all over the place. There's several sets of wall sections down here for Poop to try and funnel them into the center towards his factories, any units that might come that way. Also wall sections up top there from Callisto, wants to wall off that mountain pass. Necropal looking tiny little bit healthier as he strolls further back into the area. Going to get an upgrade on the comm, and I would be astonished if that wasn't the T2 engineering suite. Will allow him to shore up his front line, but also importantly will allow him to regain a sizable chunk of HB on board that commander, which desperately needs it. The Alumna out now for Affinity with a whole bunch of fervors on board, so we've got a drop on the cards here, heading along the bottom edge of the screen. Needs to be very careful indeed to avoid the tracers that are going up over here from Poop. And indeed the interceptors flying over here as well, but I don't think Poop has noticed the danger. He will have noticed now, but is too late in dispatching interceptors to counter them, and they're going to go right in after the T2 P-Gens that Poop has recently constructed. Poop currently on 1.4k power. We'll see where he's at after a couple of volleys here from these fervors. Only a couple of volleys should be needed each to take care of those. Engineers in the area start work at reclaiming them, but the damage is done, and might also lose a Tech 2 core mass extractor as well into the bargain. Poop rolls forward with his commander and will be successful, and he does, and it's not the one we thought he was going to lose. He loses the one further up, so there's also a heavily damaged mass extractor as well, as the Mantis from the 2 bottom players meet each other on Poop's side down here. So Poop now reduced to around 673 power output from the 1.4k he was sitting at currently. Why is that important? Well, he's been working on Tech 2 Air, would have had the ability to, as he's now at T2, and at the 11-minute mark I'd expect all of these players now to be at Tech 2 of some description, be it land or air, and that does seem to be the case. Tech 2 across the board for every player in this game now. Clink hammers up in the middle for Necropal, who's recovered a large amount of health from that Tech 2 engineering suite, which we thought was on the cards. And those clink hammers will be more than the match for anything is in the centre for Team Brexit. That has no way currently to fire back, although, having said that, we have the tactical missile upgrade on board Don't Tell My Girlfriend's ACU, so he'll be able to hit back at some things. It might not be. We've got any buzz kills online. We don't have any, but we have one buzz kill back here. But we do have a couple of destroyed mass extractors, so that might be what he was going after already, and that repays the favour from the assault that Affinity put down on Poop at the bottom right-hand corner. So a little bit of vengeance there. Nearly have Ras dump me power, so Deponi going for very early Ras indeed. He does have 2 P-Gens online. Still not enough power to keep up with the upgrade. Got 1 engineer there assisting it, and Affinity acting as all Remainers do, and they like to publicize how much they do, how they always work together in good spirit. Very keen on that kind of slogan. And there we go. So Ras for Deponi gives him a dramatic lead in mass income, 123. Second place there is Callisto on 111. He also has the Ras upgrade on board the Commander. He's getting to work on something else. But those clink hammers causing problems now in the middle for the Brexiteers. 1 kill apiece, and we have a second stronghold further back for Booty. Not sure if that's in range or not for Necropole, and it's not. So that is where Booty's ACU is currently. It's only that forward shield gen that is in any danger. Looks like it might be a bit of a no man's land in the center now. Pony getting another upgrade on the Commander. These guys really settling in to ecoing hard. Like I say, I do apologize if the game is slow in parts. I've selected this game purely on the basis of a recommendation from somebody, and that I know it doesn't desync. I sped it through on +10, and then without looking at who did what later on, I took a quick look to see if the desync came up and then quickly closed the replay. So I have absolutely no idea who is going to emerge victorious from this one. It is a complete shot in the dark. I thought we were going to get a funky comm drop there. It might be a little bit strange with the TAC missile and no Tech 3 on board the ACU, but just repositioning his ACU there is Don't Tell My Girlfriend I'm Home, and no doubt looking for a different aspect of fire to attack Affinity with. Trouble is for him, we do have quite a few volcanoes now in place. It's going to be hard to sneak those TAC missiles through. And Vipers rolling through the mountain pass at the bottom there for combat. Poop trying to counter with the odd Mantis, but we do have a Rhino or 2 in this pack as well, so those Mantis are going to struggle to cut through and kill off those Vipers. Assist ping on Don't Tell My Girlfriend's Commander. Where is that TAC missile going? It looks like it's beelining for one of Deponi's mass points over here. Deponi will be the one player they're really worried about there on the Brexiteers, I suspect. He is the equivalent to the arguments on the economy. One Jester in the mix there for Poop as well, going straight after the Deceiver initially, so Poop, concerned by false radar signatures, wants to get accurate intel. And we have ASFs in play for both Combat and Poop down at the bottom. So Tech 3 Air emerges almost simultaneously for the two teams. And we can stop to take a look at Eco, and we can see Remain has a reasonable lead now of about 7k in total mass accrued in this one so far, and that is fully representative, of course, because we don't have any players who have been destroyed yet and had their bases reclaimed. Give you a bit of a false sense of how the game is progressing. All these players still in it, and a Monkey Lord nearly complete up front for Booty 8787. Affinity upgrading his advanced RAS on board his commander. And Depony rebuilding after the TAC missile attack has put down some zappers as well. So there is the Monkey Lord completion. Are we going to see it sent in immediately, or is Booty going to hold on to it for a while? Generally feel that that's a mistake, and you get a Monkey Lord out and no one else. Looks like they're close to an experimental. Should send that bad boy in immediately, and that looks like that's what's gonna happen. Personally, I would have sent it down here to try and snag Necropal. Although we do have 3 Ravagers up front. And Depony is completing an experimental as well, so Remainer's not that far behind on the Monkey Lord, which slightly depressing. And Booty not going to send it in straight away, decided against it. I'm wondering if Depony's Spider Bot was scouted. That's what changed his mind. It did look like Booty was sending his Monkey Lord in that direction. Another exchange between Poop and Combat. Poop still relying on Tech 1 units. He's going to have to tech up if he wants to carry on trading blows with Combat at the bottom of the map. Now he's focusing primarily on air production. I would say tentatively he seems to have the largest number of ASFs on the field, so we could be looking at a advantage in the air game for the Brexiteers. Still those Clink Hammers wailing away, but all they're after now is a empty shield generator which isn't protecting anything. You could argue that that will be doing Booty a favor when that goes down. Won't be draining power anymore. And Don't Tell My Girlfriend is going to withdraw his ACU from the ridge and bring it back. Oh, interesting. So he's switching ridges. Going to come down to this side of things down here. Maybe look for a way to harass someone. I don't think he's going to get much done now with that commander-based TAC missile launcher. We've got so much tactical missile defense here for the Remainers. Lots and lots and lots of them. It's going to be very hard to sneak those missiles through. Second Monkey Lord nearly complete, and Depony hasn't rushed in with his either, so the Cold War continues. Quantum Gateway completed. Support commanders shall arrive shortly for Depony. Always a man who favours support commander play. Now, that Monkey Lord is advancing for Booty, and he has got a read on it. So well aware of the danger, and there's now 5 Ravagers at the front line instead of 3 from when we last looked. Infinity completes his ARAS. 200 seconds. That was a long and costly upgrade there. Where does that put him? That puts him in reasonable stead. Still right down the bottom, in fact, on eco, which is surprising. I suppose he's been contending with TAC missile spam in various places. Needs to get some more Tech 3 mass extractors online. Poop is actually doing rather well. 165 there he was before the values changed. But still, the Remainers with an advantage in eco. It's closing slightly. It's down to around 6k now. And the longer the game goes on, that small advantage, if it doesn't get any bigger, will matter less and less, of course. Taking a look at total mass killed. Oh, you can see the Brexiteers have been doing much better on mass killed, so essentially there's only a 1k mass advantage when you factor in what's already been killed there for the Remain side. Switch it back to team view. I know people prefer that generally. This is interesting, and this is quite dangerous as well. I've seen a few Monkey Lords get stuck on the rocks previously. Ravagers opening up. They seem to be going after the bangers and not the Monkey Lords. Does that mean they've lost visual? No, they've still definitely got visual. Those rounds collide with the Spider Bot, which is making its way down towards Combat. Combat recognizing the danger, immediately gets to work on a huge bank of Cerberus turrets. Toponi as well, shadowing the movements with a whole bunch of loyalists. Still Tech 1 units coming through the mountain pass from Poop. Monkey Lord didn't find it too hard to tidy up those loyalists. The pony will be thinking predominantly of just making sure that Combat is as protected as possible. Get as many hit points off the Monkey Lord as he can before it reaches the main base. And of course the destruction of the loyalists, EMPing the experimental there. The pony telling Combat to run. He's never going to be able to fend that off, in his opinion. There's an awful lot of Cerberus turrets in there, but the woeful damage output means it's by no way a dead cert. Necropole has headed south with his ACU and is building Ravager turrets. The Spider Bot almost right on the far edge of its range. Really needs to take down the shield gen and finish off the Cerb turrets though. Prioritization could be a lot better. It's taking unnecessary fire here. Combat has evac'd the area. Is he going to be able to get this into the main base? That's the question. A lot of goodies in there. Tech 3 core mass extractors. We've got the ion reactor. Will absolutely cripple Combat's effectiveness in this game. And of course there's nothing that the Remainers can do to counter, oh my goodness, from the air, because the air initiative is all with the Brexiteers, and Combat control K's his entire base. I mean, I've seen the engineers go up before to prevent veterancy, but you don't often see absolutely everything get control K'd. I mean, he knew it was going to go down, I guess, and every structure killed adds to potential veterancy for the Monkey Lord, so I suppose why not? Could answer well. It would have kept him with his eco for a few seconds longer. But now, Depony's support commander running in fear of the experimental as it heads on towards Necropol's main base. This is looking very good for Brexit right now. Necropol trying to shadow still the Monkey Lord, but eats one of the tac missiles from don't tell my girlfriend I'm on. His ACU there, landing one, taking half the hit points away from Necropol's commander. And the Spider-Bot already at +5, so really the Control K of the main base did nothing. And now Necropol's base is in absolute pieces. Hazard to say, Brexit looking supremely likely at this point. Depony Control K's his build capacity unnecessarily in the main base, wasn't aware that it's already 5-starred, but he has completed a Monkey Lord of his own, so he should be able to stall this, stop this attack now. But goodness me, the damage it has done, 154 kills on board. What a wonderful killing spree Booty has been on. That very unusual path down here, and there goes Necropol from a restorer push from Callisto, who's been pretty dang quiet throughout this game. So bases annihilated, 2 of them. The Remainers lose one of their 4 players. Absolutely astounding sequence of events. And this will leave the Brexiteers in very comfortable position indeed. If they could have got anyone, they would have liked to have gotten Depony, I'm sure, who's now working on a crab in the main base. And you take a look why. I mean, he's on 319. Everybody else sub 300 with the exception of Callisto, who's on 379. So Callisto has been ecoing like an absolute boss. That's why you haven't heard much from him. And as we speak, he's trying to drop some T3 units over on the far side, but so far none of them have landed because of the irregularly placed transcenders at various points from Affinity. That was a spectacular drop fail from Callisto. Looked like, what, 4, 5 transports all failed to land with Tech 3 units on board, and that is an absolute savior play from the Remainers. Thank goodness they had placed down those transcenders, otherwise there would be harbs running all over here right now, and that really would have been the final nail in the coffin. And now, don't tell my girlfriend I'm on, still with that TAC missile battery. I have a little bit more of an open playing field for TAC missile attack. And he's not just relying on the commander either. He's set up 2 more static launchers up just on their side of the ridge. And they're looking to take some hit points off the Monkey Lords while they're napping. Or are they? No, they're going after the Zapper so that he can pick off more important structures further back. But Depony looking quite nasty suddenly. 2 spider bots and a crab. And that will be a connection there. It's a Tech 3 mass extractor, so it will survive. But another missile will take that out. That will be a chunk of mass out of Depony's coffers. Now, Booty has produced a megalith of his own as well. He is down a crab pound for pound. Zapper's going up further back, just in range, and doing enough to keep that Tech 3 mass extractor online. Clinical defense there from Deponi, who really will be the man to keep the Remainers in this, if anybody can. 28 minutes gone in this one. And would you look at what's building further back here? Revenants amassing for poop, looking for the chance to snipe somebody. Say if anybody was fair game, it's likely, I'm going to say Combat, expecting him to be down there, but actually he's relocated his ACU up to Deponi's base, probably the safest part of the map on that side of the field right now. As the experimentals converge in the middle, we're going to lose a megalith for Deponi. Sorry, a megalith for Booty and a spider bot for Deponi. And really, Brexit need to be focusing now on as much air to ground as they can. They've got superiority in the skies. Deponi, recognizing the threat, is producing bouncers. Spy planes out for poop, looking for commanders to snipe, and in come some revenants going after Deponi, it looks like, and they're going to get absolutely annihilated on the way in. They're going to get their bombs away, but nothing really lands anywhere near Deponi's commander. The shield gens all survive, and really that is a massive win on the Remainers. Deponi loses nothing and takes out a very expensive air wing of strategic bombers. And now it looks like he might be making ground as well. Transports zipping back and forth now as they try to harvest Necropal's base. Spectres up front from Callisto trying to take out the Monkey Lord there, but as the bouncers come into range, they're going to have to withdraw. A second crab emerges from Booty, who's doing a good job of keeping up with Deponi, and in fact has overtaken Deponi in eco quite significantly. And whoever wins the exchange who can secure the center is going to have a lot of potential mass to call on. Actually wondering if the stutter I get could be amplified by the scoreboard mod. It does seem to be getting worse, and I have just updated this. Answers on a postcard, guys, if you have any thoughts on that side of things. Callisto completes another experimental. Deponi looking pretty dangerous now with two crabs in the middle, but we do have two crabs operational for Booty, as well as a Colossus that turns up on the scene for Callisto. Massive standoff here. Deponi really needs to be careful. He doesn't want his experimentals stationary for too long, eating TAC missiles. Now it's 2v1 on Deponi's bottom crab. It's all going to come down to micro this exchange. Pony wisely backing up out of there with the weaker megalith. We're about to lose the Monkey Lord. He's bringing that straight in. And the GC will lay down fire as well, killing off that Monkey Lord really before much fire gets put on Booty's bottom megalith at all. And Pony's going to lose that megalith to the west as well. He's got another one coming in. So much air on the field, though, for Team Brexit. And another set of drops, this time coming in from Don't Tell My Girlfriend, who hasn't done a huge amount in this one, despite being one of the higher-rated players. But he needs to get those units on the ground quickly before those interceptors arrive from Affinity, and that's all going to get shot down. Very nice reactions from Affinity. Can he get his interceptors safe? Well, there's a decent amount of anti-air on the ground as well from combat, so the drops just not working for Brexit at all in this game. Huge quantities of mass have been squandered. And are we going to see the megalith reclaiming? Of course, you drop an egg, remember, from those megaliths on board on top of any wreck, and it will quickly reclaim. We do have Harbingers working on this, and this is a ton of mass now going towards Brexit. The Pony was forced to back up out of there. Colossus engaging from Callisto would do better if he can get in range to engage the upper one. That's exactly what he's going after. Needs to continue pressing forward, though, otherwise that megalith is going to stroll out of range, which it does. But he will manage to bag the kill. Very nice work indeed. Gets a rank of veterancy for his trouble. Won't survive the second megalith, but all of this goes into depleting the Pony's stock, who's continuously trying to produce crabs and send them to the front line. We have a Scathis on the way as well. No such weapon materializing from the Brexiteers. Everyone at the moment embroiled deeply in mass experimental production. There goes another megalith. But the two megaliths that are left for Booty are very badly damaged indeed. Fortunately for Brexiteers, they do have another Colossus from Callisto. They really do need to harvest all of this mass before the tide turns and the remainers, can assert control once again. Now, the Pony spreading out nicely into Necropal's old base. A lot of tactical missile defense up front from combat, helping to defend those newly constructed structures further back. And now we're starting to see more revenants being produced as well, all being sent up here to join the shockers of Callisto. So could we have another snipe attempt on the cards? They're going to have to take a different approach this time. The last one didn't work out well for them at all. Tremendous slowdown in this game for a gap of Rohan. And we're going to see the Scathis get online, at least, I suspect, unless we see those strap bombers go after it. Very near completion now. And Don't Tell My Girlfriend I'm on, only now getting his advanced RAS at the 35-minute mark. Harbingers over here for Callisto, trying to pick up some more mass from the other wrecks. They've done a pretty good job generally of reclaiming the experimentals in the middle. Pony will at the very least get out towards these other ones over here. One dropped by him, the other from Booty, and of course the Colossus on the other side as well. So the amount of mass flowing into the two teams from Reclaim is really offsetting any forward progress that either team are making. Scathis online, where is it headed? And what can it reach? So to get in towards the main base, that Scathis would have to get out towards the front line somewhere up here. And I don't believe it. How on earth have I got a strategic launch detected? I've been missing those forever. I don't know how I've got them back, but it is very welcome indeed. In comes Strat Bombers from Callisto, going after the support commander that is trying to reclaim, and that nuke going straight after Affinity. Does Affinity have nuke defense? Yes, he does. That is poor scouting on behalf of the Brexiteers. Team Remain even has a spare missile in that silo, and now they have the Scathis into range at least of the two Colossus that have breached the gap there from Callisto. Now the one in the rear has fallen into range of a pursuing Megalith, which is bad news for him, but the lead one at the very least should make it forward to combat's main base. And if you can make it to the main base, there's no reason he can't get into the rear base that's only recently once again been re-established. Core Mexes back up to Tech 3 and the sorts. Affinity posturing with his restorers, wants to get a solution on the Colossus. Are the Brexiteers waiting to swamp with their ASFs is the question. Well, Poop leaps on the opportunity. Will Affinity respond? I suspect he will. In he comes as well. The Colossus from Callisto is destroyed, but the lead Colossus will reach the front line. It's got around 30,000 hit points left. In comes Callisto with his interceptors as well. Restorers take a shredding on that first pass. Somehow the ion reactor is still alive. I don't know how. Colossus has lost about half of its hit points since last we checked, down to around now 10,000 and absolutely plummeting. Another Colossus comes in through the gap and is opened up on one of Deponi's megaliths over there. They're exchanging fire. The air battle is going badly for the Brexiteers and could in fact finally hand over the initiative in the air game to the Remain camp. Callisto grabs that last Tech 3 mechs before the Colossus succumbs to the Cerberus pressure. But Deponi's megaliths now being pursued by Booty's megaliths. Brexiteers sending everything they've got in the ground game through the gap at the same time, and we've even got some forces from Don't Tell My Girlfriend I'm On coming over the southern mountain pass and breaking into that forward base from combat, or for combat. Poop saying, "Strout the comms, I have 40 Strat Bombers waiting for a snipe." Booty loses one of the megaliths, but Deponi's megalith shouldn't be too far behind either. There goes Booty's Spiderbot, which restores a huge chunk of health onto Deponi's other megalith that was going down into the red, and that should be a win between these two of what's left for Deponi on the ground. Meanwhile, siege tanks rolling in the east. In come the Strat Bombers going after the Scathis from Callisto, and they just run out of Strat Bombers a moment before the kill. Obviously very worried indeed about that Scathis as the rapid fire shells land on the forward mass fabricators and mass pumps of Callisto. In comes Poop with another wave of strats going after what exactly, I'm not sure. Is it Deponi's commander? Impossible to tell. It looks like they've had almost no real impact on that at all. And it will be down in no small part to the Myrmidon banks down here. But siege tanks continue to roll in from multiple positions for Don't Tell My Girlfriend. The restorers that are left roll in towards this small group. We're going to focus and prioritize the T3 mobile anti-air first. But it's all go. The forward base for combat has been destroyed. Now we've got a couple of Southerners there just trying to engage at range. Callisto rolling in with Harbingers. They're throwing absolutely everything they've got against the pony. Still going in with Strap-Bonners, still trying to take out that Scathis, which is on about 5.5k. 40 minutes gone in this one. 3 siege tanks remain. Then there were 2 just as they're about to get in range of some really key structures of the ponies. The Restorers and a base-bound Megalith are able to finish off those units. And now, still, that Scathis is online. Fortunately, as we stated before, not able in its current position, I don't think, to reach the main bases. So it really would have to come pretty far forward. You'd have to somehow assert your authority as the Remain camp and set up shop around here if you really wanted to damage the main bases. But the Remainers there completely devoid of any real intel on that side of things. Compare that to the Brexiteers that have full vision pretty much of what's going in and coming out. Continual trades of Colossus and Megalith and Monkey Lord. Poop has replenished his air force incredibly quickly, going after the Restorers as they come forward to counter Callisto's Colossus. There's an awful lot of alliteration going on. I do apologize. But the ponies showing absolutely no signs of letting up in this one. It's almost as ferocious as the campaign has been over the last 4, 5, 6 months or so. Debate after debate, lies coming out from both sides. Secretly, I love it, but I'm also thrilled that it's all going to be over. No more brutal exchanges with people on Facebook or in FAF chat. People who aren't in the EU or in the UK, even if you are in the EU and not in the UK, must have been absolutely sick of this. I cannot remember a time when I logged in the evenings and there wasn't someone debating it over the last, I don't know, couple of months. It really has been very consistent on that front. Let's take a look at the eco side of things while we reach a lull, because that has been a very protracted length of engagement. It must have been a good 5-10 minutes of pretty solid combat there. And you can see the Brexiteers have pulled away massively with the demise of Necropile in total mass gain. 2.3 million mass there for Brexit, 1.7 million mass for Team Remain. And overall, you've got to think that that's pretty unsustainable. I would be surprised if the total mass in units killed hasn't swung massively in favor towards Remain. And you can see here, 818,000 mass killed by Team Remain. Compare that to the just over 500,000 mass there from the Brexiteers, 500,000. But unfortunately, that hasn't translated into any kind of major strategic bonus for the Remain camp. Stutter lag getting worse and worse. I will sit down with some of the the mods and the devs and work out what I can do to improve things. I've done memory checks and processor checks, and the software that I've used all says that my hardware seems to be fine. Might just be a case of old wear and tear. And I say it seems to be fine. It's operating below expecting parameters, but it's not damaged in any way. And the heat levels are well within tolerances. I definitely want to get it sorted out so I can bring you guys the best viewing experience. That scath is still online, and you can really see the effect it's having on the Brexiteers. They're having to drop back with just about everything. We've got 4 Colossus, Harbingers, tons of siege tanks there from Callisto, and Don't Tell My Girlfriend all backing up to get out of range of the thing. Another little tank platoon down here, complete with Anathenas, and the mobile anti-air units are going to make it in range of that set of core mass once again for combat, who should at the very least lose 2 or 3 of the mass extractors here, even with the pony rolling in with a very badly damaged megalith. Oh, and I like what I see there. Those Suthanus we saw earlier, I'm assuming it's the same 2 parked up on the ridge going after those mass points as well. In comes Affinity with the Restorers. You'd be surprised that they wouldn't come in earlier, but I think that's part and parcel of the fact that there's absolutely no intel whatsoever on anything that's outside the field of view of that perimeter monitoring station in the center of Deponi's base. So that is why they were slow to react, and that is why Combat has lost all except for one of his Tech 3 mass extractors in the main base, and that has survived only just on around 1100 hit points or so. And we got a T3 static artillery online. Yes, we do. So Booty now with a way to fire back at Deponi, and that will be in range of all of the goodness in the main bases. Scathis is going to have to roll out if he wants to do the same, and another Scathis under construction from Deponi as well, who really is making a fantastic go of this. 45 minutes have gone so far. And a massive air exchange down here between Poop and Affinity. And Affinity is going to lose all of his Restorers if my computer ever catches up with the action. So many projectiles in one go. Well, curiously didn't stick with it. Didn't want to hang around that bank of Myrmidons longer than he had to. So Affinity will keep some of those Restorers, and it's certainly enough to chuck onto an experimental and make them think twice about advancing. But goodness me, look at the sheer number of ASFs that Poop has got. 219. I think that's a little bit excessive, a little unnecessary. Certainly could do with more air to ground. But then having said that, he's produced what must be 60, 70 strat bombers, if that comment of the 40 strats earlier was to be believed, and he's so far has failed to get much done with it. But in come these shells now from the disruptor there from Booty, raining back down on Deponi and his power grids. And it's not just a disruptor, it looks like we've got a T3 artillery emplacement there for Callisto as well, and Booty is saying nuke him. I think they might have snagged Deponi's strategic missile defense. Deponi with his commander right there. The Scathis has rolled up and is now into range of some more juicy things in the Brexiteers base. Where is that nuke? Now that's interesting. I didn't get a nuke warning that time. I'm guessing it's because the first one that I got, at the time when it happened, I was on the vision of the Remain camp. Poop's throwing out the GGs. He says it's already done. Deponi has evac'd, but that's going to get shot down as it strolls into range just of that patron up here belonging to Affinity. So the game will continue. And now there are 2 Scathis online to Scathai, something like that, and Daponi with a horrible number of crabs and spiders in the center will now breach through the gap. Poop adjusting for another bombing run with a horde of strat bombers. What is the target? It looks like it might be Daponi's commander. Booty saying kill red for goodness sake. I'm not sure you've got enough strats there to do it. The Myrmidons will be focusing in on you at every opportunity now. And only a few of the bombs were dropped. The rest of the strats collide with Daponi's ACU, but do almost nothing. And it's another absolute barbecue for Poop's Air Force. Oh my goodness me, and what have we got there? We've lost a commander. Who is that? Is that Don't Tell My Girlfriend? Or was that a nuke? That must have been a nuke. We've got a nuke launcher there that lands right almost in the center of Daponi's experimentals, and Booty rolls in forward with his. And what's left for Daponi in that mix is pretty badly damaged. I cannot believe how many aircraft Poop has lost over the course of this battle. Absolutely insane. And now the T3 artillery emplacements are going after the Scathis, and they bag one of them, so Daponi loses the front Scathis. We do have shield gens online there from Affinity that are offering some protection, but they're only Tech 2 ones, so the radius is pretty small. And a Tsar is completed there for combat. It seems that we also have another T3 emplacement further back there, so one from combat. So this really has descended into an absolute arty fest, and it's not for result of trying. Let's face it, these guys have thrown more experimentals at each other than insults have been thrown in the referendum debate. That Scath is surely not going to survive this once again. In come the restorers from Affinity. So many bouncers on the ground. There goes Daponi's crab. There goes Daponi's Scathis. And it's not going to take those restorers long to chew through those experimentals. On go the Colossus. Are they going to make it to Daponi's base? There goes another one. 3 remain. They're all still pretty healthy soon at the moment. Well, so far, the Spectres land in a very unhelpful position indeed, but it's the Restorers that are putting out the damage anyway. In comes Callisto with the Tsar and the ASFs. And the majority of the bouncers, unfortunately, have been moved up here, but a large wave of strap bombers from Poop. Will he finally get the kill that he's craved so much over the course of this one? Boom, baby! And there goes Daponi, finally. So much has been thrown in. Even the Tsar didn't make it out alive. Crashes on the front line. And I thought the Restorers were going to chew through them quicker. Admittedly, a lot of them are Spectres. There goes another Colossus, but 2 remain. One of them very healthy indeed. And Affinity is ripe for the proverbial plucking. Down he goes, and with him, the huge bank of restorers and any hope for Britain remaining in the European Union. The surrender goes out, and that is a thoroughly pleasing result. All 4 of the Brexiteers remain. Well, it's a little bit fun, as I say, highly unscientific, but at least we know what the result is going to be. And very unusual replay. But yeah, got to get it looked at and find out what's going on with the whole stutter step side of things. But whatever happens, guys, if you are British, or even if you're European and you feel a little bit aggrieved that so many Brits want out, just remember that it's all down to personal opinion, and whatever happens, in the end, we're all still part of NATO and no one's going to start nuking each other. That's the important thing to remember. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. There's always more to come from me in the future. Don't forget, if you feel so inclined, you can support me on Patreon. But until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out. Don't forget to vote.